That performance by David Whitehouse brings our brass semi-final to a lively close. And now we wait for the jury to come onto the platform and to give us the names of the 5 finalists. The jury returns. Chris Mowat, the trombonist, Adrian Leeper, conductor, Crispin Steele-Perkins, trumpeter, Jonathan Goodall, French horn player, and Alan Hodinott, the composer. Crispin Steele-Perkins will announce the jury's decision.
Well, we've had great pleasure to hear such a wide variety of music for brass instruments today, and we would like to congratulate all the participants upon a consistently high standard throughout today, under very nerve-wracking conditions, of course. And it is our duty to select 5 performers to go through into the final round. So sadly, there will be 6 people who are disappointed. However, they've done very well to get so far. But the people who have got through into the final round in alphabetical order are Rachel Clark, French horn; Ben Lees, trumpet; Craig Patterson, another trumpeter; David Pyatt, French horn; and David Whitehouse, trombone.
And first to come on is Craig Patterson from Luton, a trumpeter who comes from a family of brass players. David Pyatt from Watford, only 14, French horn player. The other horn player through, Rachel Clark from Warrington. David Whitehouse, the trombone player from Birmingham. Finally, Ben Lees, 16, from Pettswood, being congratulated there by Crispin Steele-Perkins.
And a big hand for the 6 remaining participants.
So, commiserations to the unlucky ones and congratulations to the 5 young musicians who now go forward to the brass final programme to be televised next Tuesday, the 26th. Meanwhile, the semi-finals continue tomorrow evening with the woodwind class, followed by the strings on Friday. I hope you'll be back with us, and until then, may I wish you a very good night from the Royal Northern College of Music in Manchester.
Morning, boys. Morning. Hey!
I think we all have in us the power to express ourselves in different ways. The musician or the painter who has very special gifts enters a different kind of world of expression from time to time, and that's what makes art so special and so creative.
The amount you have to pay to come here is based on how much your dad earns, and the government pays for a vast majority of it.
every so often, you know, it gets a bit dirty, I suppose, especially when you do rehearsals straight after lunch and things like that. You know, chips, soup, this kind of thing. And yeah, it needs cleaning.
Quite a few pieces which are actually very moving, but you know it isn't actually for real. You can tell that yourself. Some people in the congregation sometimes do cry when we sing things nicely, and it's sad music.
I'm going home! I know you're going home, but you're not going home today. Give me the flowers! Give me the flowers now. You're gonna drop them. Just... Now, what exactly is this your favourite? Claire, it's mine! 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3. Yes, a little more spread over the triplet.
Yeah, but what about starting it in tempo instead of starting it with... I mean, you've had a heck of a rubato coming down to the cadence, right? Yeah. So why not kick off back in tempo? You don't want too lots of them.
What did you think, Claire? I think it was a bit more emotion. I just thought it was a bit... I thought it was quite expressive, but I thought it was a bit too sad. That's what I thought. Is it very sad? Because I think you were mixing up feeling expressive. I mean, I thought somebody had really pegged it, or, you know?
When you're training gifted musicians, there's a great tendency to think always of your scales, the forthcoming assessment, the big concert which is coming up, and perhaps not so much about music in general. It is important, we believe, that there is a certain element of improvisation in what goes on to liberate people from their D major scales. Each year we receive something like 1,000 applications, and of those something like 300 will come for a preliminary audition, and then just over a third of those for a second round audition, which is competitive with a panel. And Matthew had reached that final stage. We're looking for the all-round musical qualities that the child has.
Like little ships aloud at sea, are sailing on the blue. The fleecy clouds in heaven's bright sky are sailing idly through.
3 notes.
La, la, la.
Oh, I got you with the 3rd one. Yes.
Well, I started the bassoon, I think, because my mother coached a local youth orchestra wind section, and I used to sit behind the bassoon section, and it was always pretty hilarious to me, this great long tube making this farty sound. I thought that was good, so I tried one of these and liked it, and it was good fun.
Okay. Yes, that's very, very atmospheric stuff. Being Sibelius.
When I'm playing the bassoon, it can be very funny. You can be thinking on a technical basis and thinking about where your fingers are going, how you're breathing, how you're making a sound, or whatever. But I've often experienced that your mind can drift, and you can be thinking about whatever you're going to do tomorrow. I spoke to a few people who've had this experience, but it's very dangerous.
Good.
Obviously, I have to discipline myself to practice, because you can get phases where you think, oh no, I don't feel like practicing, I can't practice, but you have to practice. And it's quite difficult sometimes. It's my favourite instrument. I do enjoy playing the piano a lot. It's my greatest hobby, obviously. My ambition is to become a concert pianist. I have no other ambition apart from that. I've never changed from that idea, and I think it's going to stick there until I become what I want to become, which I'm determined to do. I was thinking of all the music. I find that if I know it well enough, I can just let it flow out of my fingers. Still, I have to concentrate on it, obviously, but it's a lovely feeling to be able to let it flow out and no worries, you know. Once you've got it in your memory, then that's a big advantage as well.
There was about 250 pupils at Chetham's, and Everyone's in a very close-knit community, especially the boarders. And everyone mainly is very friendly, but it can also be very difficult because of relationships. Being a co-ed school, there's bound to be boyfriends and girlfriends. They last for a long time or whatever, and they split up, and there's some tension, I should think.
Bravo, very good indeed. Now, unaccompanied bark, very difficult to play. What criticisms, Gina or Natalia, can you level about?
I think she should bring out the modulations more and really play them out. So that's half of what bark is.
With her posture, so with her left hand, is there anything you didn't like?
I think she brings back her first finger too far.
Yeah, she tends to lift them too high. Right. Tone comes from where? Where does tone come from?
Pad of the finger.
Yeah, and the bow, yeah, but the pad of the fingers. Right. The higher you pick them up, the further you've got to come down again.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. More jaw. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. Will you just give me a chord of that, please? Choose your own note. Any note in the chord. Okay, this time start with a down the nose. Get what's called the impostor right. On your own note, go. Call that G, whether it is or not. D. E minor. Don't breathe between chords. C major. A flat major. Can't have any C's. F major. Tune. D major. B major. Not too many thirds. E minor. Keep the G in the alto E and sing A. Not good on thirds tonight. Keep the A on the bottom, second inversion D. D in the middle, suspend A. Seventh. D. That'll do. Our fundamental belief at Chetham's is that we are not necessarily training future professionals, but we are educating musically gifted children, and I think that's the most important point. One advantage of a specialist music school, which is boarding, is that the music can be reinforced every day. When the excited new pupil arrives for the first time, he or she may well have been the biggest fish in the local pond, may have been flattered enormously about his or her talent, and find suddenly that life is much tougher than was first thought. I think everyone who arrives wants to be a soloist, and so the first year or so is a question of finding a bit of realism.
I think my character matches the instrument. Obviously, he's not as fat as I am, I think. My friends will probably tell you that. I've got to face up to the fact that there's not many jobs in music. I think I want to play the bassoon.
I'm not sure forever more. I'd like to do other things as well, maybe something to do with jazz. About 3 years ago, I took a fancy to the electric bass guitar, which I taught myself, and we formed a band. Music can have cosmic effects on people. You can take you away and it can do amazing things.
The main outline of the day is that music is slotted in around the academic timetable, so there's a lot of pressure between the two sides. It isn't just a music school where you just learn music. You have to work very hard at the academic side and get your O levels and A levels, and perhaps go on to university if you feel that's what you want to do. The standard is very high and they usually turn out a very high standard of academics.
Leave the stick in the air for a moment and try several drops to get the feeling of the pace at which the stick falls. All right. Now think about the wind players having to breathe in order to come in exactly together. And can you now breathe in as you lift the stick up? Okay. And now think about the tongue that they have to place at the beginning of the note, so they have to go ta, all right, and you try. More like that. Now everybody try and play and see if you can get the breathing and tonguing that they're going to imitate. That's a bit sudden, isn't it? The stick went whoa, straight down. You have to think of the rhythm at which it comes down that gives a nice gentle attack for the start of a soft note.
think about the notes, you think about the meaning behind it, so that you can communicate that sound to the audience. It's great when you get it right and you feel that you have conveyed the message, and if people know what you're trying to say, then that's the greatest sense of achievement.
Absolutely.